Hey guys, it's Minna. How are ya? It is Monday morning. It's 11:18 a.m. I just came back from the mechanic. I had the coolant reservoir replaced to my car, and the interesting thing is that it had like this micro tear, this tiny little micro tear. But the funny thing was that when I got my light changed, when I got my first light bulb changed on the passenger side, when he opened the trunk to my car, he noticed that there was no more antifreeze. And he said, "What happened here?" It's like, and I'm like, and I was like, da 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 da, because I just was not aware yet. And I said, well, I recently did a trip to Boston. Could it have just been all used up? He says, no, that's not how it happens. There's a leak somewhere. So I was a little bit perplexed and concerned because, it's summertime and there's not a lot of work available. You have to have a plan B, which I'm currently working on. And I was worried that the radiator was affected. But thankfully, it was not that. It was just that he did a little test. He had like this little pump that he attached to the coolant reservoir. He opened the coolant reservoir. It hissed because it was hot, and he pumped it. And they were trying to see where the leakage came from, and it was not coming from. The radiator was not affected, so I'm really thrilled about that. He said you have to replace the coolant reservoir. You have to replace that. And I said, okay, how much is that? And I have to order it. Okay. Remember, I've said in past videos, order your own parts. Learn about your car. Learn about your parts so you're not going to get taken advantage of. If it's already up, I have a video on how I changed the other light bulb to my car on the driver's side, which is a little bit easier because there's nothing blocking it. The one on the passenger side, you have to remove the box that has the air filter. You have to unplug certain things and stuff like that. And then you can do that change. But, since that already has that light bulb is there, and I spent a little bit too much on it, which has prompted me now to be more cognizant of how my car works and the parts that I need for my car, and to show the mechanic that I'm becoming more informed as a chauffeur, and this is my business and stuff like that. So it's just like, before I went, because they were calling me all week, and I was kind of like, I was ignoring them. But I knew I had to make the repair, but there was no resources for the repairs because not a lot of work available. I did my research beforehand, and I saw that the part, like the AC Delco, are like the best parts you can buy for your car, but they have other reputable parts. AC Delco part is like $60. And other parts that do not carry the AC Delco name, they're like below $60, $50, $40, $33.95. That's how much they cost. And there's like I noticed, because I looked at it when he put the thing down, the piece down, I picked it up and I looked at it and I looked it over. I took a picture of it because I want to psych them out. I want to know about my car. I love my Monster, and I want to learn how my Monster works so I can help you guys out. What I noticed, what he did in changing the part, because I was there watching him. No pressure, right? Change it out. First of all, he had to unplug the old coolant reservoir. And I apologize, I'm not looking at you. Oh, I can turn now. I'm not looking at you because, of course, I'm driving a car right now. He unplugged the reservoir. There's like two valves, two hoses there are two like valves protruding out like that. I'm going to do this like if you're seeing the top of it. What he had to do was he had to unplug the old reservoir, unplug the two valves that were connected, the two hoses that were connected to these two valves, and then but before all that, he had to remove the air filter box, the same box that you remove when you want to change out the lamp, the headlight bulb to the passenger side of the car. Take out that same box, and I got to look inside, and the air filter does need to be changed. So I plan to buy my own air filter, and when I go to get the oil change, I'll say, here's the air filter, change out my air filter. That's how you save some money, folks. Listen up, gals. And so what he did, going back to how he changed out the coolant reservoir, removed the hoses, he removed the box that houses the air filter. He, with the power drill, or little power handheld drill, he unscrewed the bottom part of the reservoir. And then at the bottom of the reservoir, there's another hose that's connected to another valve at the bottom. And when he removed that, all the antifreeze came out into my Monster, into the innards of my Monster. I'm like, okay, I hope that doesn't do anything to my Monster. But he came back later with like a little pail of water, which actually was an antifreeze jug cut in half. With water, he rinsed out the parts that were splashed. He removed the old coolant reservoir and he emptied out most of the antifreeze there. And then he showed me there's this little teeny tiny hole in this teeny tiny hole in the bottom part, which you couldn't even see it, but it was there. It got produced there. and probably me driving over too many potholes here in New York City, and the antifreeze started to drip out slowly. So this is not something that happened right away, but it was something that if you did not change it right away could lead to a huge tear, and one day all the antifreeze pouring out and damaging your car, and you just don't want. He removed that. He showed me how he removed it, and then he put the new one back in. We connected all the hoses, and so the hoses are set in place with these special clamps, and the clamps are very tight, so you have to use pliers. There's like a clamp, like a kind of clamp like this, and you with the pliers you clamp it open and you shove it up, because he connected the hose to the bottom part first. So there's probably some antifreeze left in the hose, because when he connected the hose to the new coolant reservoir, I think some of the antifreeze poured back into the new reservoir. And then he connected the other two hoses that were on the top part here, and he makes sure that the clamps were tight. And then he started to fill up new reservoir with antifreeze. And I noticed that the coolant reservoir has two compartments. So the one towards the front started to fill up quicker than the one towards the back. And I realized two hoses on the top, one is for the front and one is for the rear. And now we got to discover what's that all about. You know, the part itself doesn't come with a screw top. You use the same screw top that came with car. As he was getting everything ready and he was starting to he started to undo things, he started to tell me that, these type cars, the first thing that goes is the condenser, and then these little things are a little bit defective, and yada yada yada. I said, oh yeah, I already changed the condenser. The condenser was changed out last year. So okay. And then he said, oh, did you change out the fans yet? And I was like, no, not yet. He said, well, hopefully not this year, but maybe next year. And so okay, now we got to find out what are the fans and what are they used for. The job was pretty quick. You didn't have to put the car on the lift. Know about your car, learn about your car, go in there informed so that you're not taken for a ride. It was $150, but I'm glad that that's fixed. This is Minna, the black car babe. Always keep moving forward. Cheers.